Hello, hello everybody again. I'm back. As you can see, I'm in a different place, but the message in the session is number 3, and this particular segment in social and emotional development, part of our lives when they're entering a situation that is foreign to us. Now, I know we, those of us who's been incarcerated in or been institutionalized in any lifestyle, because institutionalization is a way of life. We found out we've taken away that negative stipulation on it, and we have defined it as a way of life, and that's what it is. It's a way of life. And you must not, and we must not forget that. But at the same time, we found out that we're individuals, that we are capable of learning, we're capable of maturing, and we do mature. Life growth does not stop. Wherever you are at in life, it continues, and there is nothing that you could do about it. And you went into the military, you went into a divorce, a marriage, you went into anything, and that particular situation, you growed in some way to in some fashion or form, whether it's for the negative that is adverse and unbeneficial to your life, or you growed in a healthy way. And it seems like a contradictory of terms, because some people think that once you go into prison that you just learn. You learn there too, but you learn how to become a better criminal. That's not always true. You got a lot of people. I mean, Nelson Mandela went into prison, stayed in there for 27 years in a worse situation that you could ever imagine. But he came out on top. He came out a better person, a better man, and became the president of his country. But he said he read books, he worked out, he boxed, he practiced physical conditioning, mental conditioning, and he came out victorious. And we know his story. His story is one of the greatest stories that can ever be told, about someone who triumphed over all the odds that were against him. I mean, the entire nation was against him. They hated his color. They hated what he stood for, his political views. But he came out on top. And that's what you can do today, regardless of what area you are at in life, because we are individuals. The individual is great. The individual has power. The individual has resilience that is astronomical and magnificent. You know, there's a lot of us who went in our situations in life, our institutions in life, whether it was military service, whether it was incarceration. We went in at a certain age. A young man that went in at 20 years old and came out 45, came out 35, or came out at 30, whatever age he came out in, he went in with certain views, viewpoints, and a level of maturity. And he came out with a level of maturity, and his particular environment dictated his stay and how he was, what he learned, and everything. His individuality also had a major part with what he was going to get out of the deal when he went in. Let me tell you, it's a part of a big deal that you take upon yourself in every situation that you enter into in life. Now, the person 20 years old, usually a person that's 20 years old is learning responsibilities. They manage their own place. They paying bills. They're accumulating possessions at the age of 20. 20-year-olds are doing their thing out here, that making right decisions. But some of them, you don't have to be in college. You don't have to go in college. But the person that's 20 years old, that's entering in prison, they have an entire totally different mindset and a totally different dilemma that they must face. They're not going to mature. They don't have the same stability and the same security or the same sense of independence, not even the same host of friends or the support group. And they definitely don't have the same access to the resources that someone else out on the street has. And when a man entering in prison at age 20, he's going into the prison house, and other person is age 20 on the street is learning, having his own place. He learning how to live independently, and then he's joining the workforce. In prison, they got workforce too. You ain't gonna get paid minimum wage at age 20 in the prison system. You're gonna get paid at least amount 20-25 cents an hour at the most. At one point, I don't know what the price is now, but at one point it was 45 cents an hour. So there is a different level of responsibility on both parts when you enter into the situation. The workforce is totally different in prison. The workforce, you're learning responsibilities again, and you're interacting with your co-workers. You're managing your money. You're realizing that I can't spend more than my responsibilities and my obligations require. And I can't party all night doing I'm not going to eat or pay bills. So there are different levels of maturity, and when you're entering to either situation, joining the workforce in the institutionalized system is a lot different, and you're not going to get the same benefits from as you would the same 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old going through the workforce, earning and work experience, and as you earn work experience, you build up your resume. And your resume, as said before, is nothing more than a representation of your individuality, of what you can do and what you cannot do, your creativity, your abilities, your mindset, and what you are capable of doing, your abilities. You're earning and you're learning things and gaining experience. On the other side, you can gain experiences in the jobs in prison too, but it's very, very limited. And the level of what you can learn, the accesses of your resources and whatnot. And then on the street, you're earning SSI. You're saving money. You earning Social Security. In the other place, you're not earning Social Security. You can't do it. These things are to think about. Now, this is what's going on. Now, when you get out, you already automatically got to think that you cannot mess around. Now, people in the military, they pretty much didn't fit this situation where they were paying they were being productive citizens and paying their taxes and paying part of the SSI system, but you were not. Now you see how far back lagging you are. If you get out at 35 and 40, how much lagging you are in that area of finances. You can't play catch up. You just got to start out where you are, and that is a misconception across the board. If you have not been a part of your child's life, now you're part of your child's life, there is the misconception is that you can play catch up. There is no catch up being played. You just got to start where you are at that moment and be what you can be at any level that child will allow you to be, because at no point can you think that you are in control. This is a point in the time, a very good time to learn some humility. Learn how to humble yourself and say, especially if you want to be a part of your child's life. And when I came back, I couldn't be called father, because I wasn't. That was just ridiculous for me to want and demand that when I was not the child's father and have not been a father. The best thing I can do as far as biologically is say, hey, can I be a part of your biological representation? And as far as our connection there, because we had no other connection. We had no other connection, no more than marriage with his mother. and marriage in that sense of the term. And I've been there at the beginning, but I wasn't there in the middle. It doesn't know me, matter of fact. So there's a level of maturity that you have to come with, and you have to come to grips with in your mind before you enter into the situation going back home. You can't expect stuff and everybody to bow down, and you come back, you the big bad man, and you making orders, and you demanding stuff from individuals and people. No, this is a perfect time to humble yourself and say, hey, would you listen and communicate? This is a time to learn some effective, good communication with the people you love, and it is possible. And I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing. You know what can come out of it with the right approach, when you approach the situation in a positive and the correct way of approaching it, and the correct way of approaching this situation when you've been estranged from your loved one is to come with understanding, speaking clarity, expressing yourself clearly, concisely, and confidently, with humility in your voice and respect. And you welcome that. Instead of repelling people away from you with your attitude, you can attract them with a nice attitude, and you can get a lot of things accomplished, and you can affect a lot of healing can go on. But if you come with a nasty attitude, as if the world owes you something, and that you had a bad deal been handed to you by the authorities, and that everybody's against you, then you're going to repel that which you are trying to attract. You're trying to get your people to know who you are, your child that don't know you. You're trying to get them to know the person, the real you, and not what you've been painted as to be because of your prior behavior. You are trying to relay the person, the real you, the person that's lovable, caring, and supportive, and it can be responsible. But you cannot do that with the wrong attitude. And you start growing when you begin to think about it. And that's what we're talking about the entire time. Common awareness. Awareness is one of the biggest words that we've been talking about. And when you become fully aware of the situation in your life and what's going on, then you can move back, and then you can move forward. Instead of going backwards, you can move forward into a bright and new day, because things is going on. And we're going back to this part about maturity, stability, security, independence, and support and resources. Now, a person that's 20 years old going into the system, look at the things that's going on. This maturity steps in a 12-year span, it's pretty much just how, it's the same thing that's going in everywhere in every institution that you are introduced into. It does not stop. And then 20 years old on the street has regular family interaction, which is important. Regular family interaction, which is important in your life. Learning responsibilities, active part of growth, and bonding through shared experiences. All these things are happening, and you continue to do the same thing. You bond with shared experiences in both situations, but the situations and the circumstances dictate that the whole scenery is totally different. In prison, you interacting, you playing ball every day, you doing sports every day. Physical activity is possessing and consuming your time mostly, and it's physical activity is a good way of escape, good way of dealing with the situation. It's constructive, but there's no balance there. On the streets, a 20-year-old is learning a well-balanced social diet, a well-balanced physical diet, a well-balanced spiritual life, and a well-balanced mental life. They all go hand in hand, and they coincide with each other. But you must realize that it does not happen in a vacuum. It happens collectively with interaction and learning a part of each other. The regular family interaction is going on. And look, a person incarcerated 20 years old has limited family contacts. And if you're in jail, you can't. Some jails won't even allow you to have physical. Won't let you touch. You got to visit behind the screen. And that's one of the problems today. That the social media that we have today, the computer age, the age of technology, eliminates a lot of personal touch. It eliminates a lot of personal interaction with those who you love. Now we realize that a baby infant born from their mother need that physical interaction, and they need someone to hold them, support them. We know that. We know that a baby dies if you leave a baby without. You can feed them all they want to in a hole, but they're gonna die without no light in the room, without somebody touching them, and they hearing voices of their mother and feeling her touch. We know that a child needed, but let me tell you, a grown man needed too. A rusted 20-year-old needed, as well as a rusted 45-year-old need his family interaction and the people he loves, because depression will set in, resentment will set in, frustration, aggravation, and anger cause people to act out, mental illness and all this stuff will set in. And we're just saying that, I'm just saying regular family interaction is important. And we live in the day and age that, and you go to prison, that's even cut out even more. Think about what that person mentality is, and how their behavior is, and how they react and interact with one another once they leave that situation. You can't afford to leave out of the situation you're in with a negative behavior and a non-positive results of interacting with others. It must be there. And you pretty much primarily you learn that from your family members. You learn how to interact with outside people the way that you learn how to interact with people within your family organization. And you take what you learn from home the rest of your life. And let me tell you, you're gonna choose the same friends that you choose when you was in school. If you have not come to realize if your old friends and whatnot was unbeneficial, and you change and alter some of your patterns and your social behaviors, and you start changing making different friends, and allowing people to come in part of your life. Look, you cannot afford to allow someone that's adverse to come into your life right now. You can't do it. With that being said, we're going to end this session, and we're going to come back and finish this off. Let me tell you, it's a pleasure talking to you. It's a pleasure for us helping each other. Look, I just don't see this screen. I see men and women that went through what I went through, that suffered and that are suffering. But they want a way out. And there is a way out. It's all inside. Reach inside yourself while I reach inside myself. And let's share ourselves with each other. And we both will be better. I'll be right back.